Hello, my name is Neil Kelleher. In this video I'll be going over the use of props in some standing forward bends, triangle forward bend and standing forward bend with the legs parallel, and perhaps also triangle pose and even side angle pose. And the idea in this video is to show when you could use props and how to work towards not having to use props in your yoga poses. So in triangle forward bend or parsvottanasana, one leg is forward, one leg is back, both knees are straight, and the hips are perhaps square to the front leg or perhaps even turned towards the front leg slightly. In this yoga pose, while bent forward, if you can't touch your hands to the floor, or if in trying to touch your hands to the floor your spine is bent forward like this, then you should probably think about using props for the hands. So if you don't have yoga blocks, or if your flexibility is severely limited, what you could use is a chair. This chair is handy because there's room for my foot to fit in between the legs. Do make sure that if you are using a fold-up chair like this, make sure that it is stable enough to take your weight, and also try not to press near the edge where, on any point where it is liable to tip over. Also, so now with a prop in front of me, hip square, my front leg just between the legs of the chair can bend forward. And what I suggest is position the prop close enough that you can place your hands on it so that the hands are under the shoulders. So rather than like this, move the chair back like this. And also, this is probably obvious, but you don't want it too far to the side or this side so it throws off your alignment. So when bending forward, and this actually applies to a regular yoga pose as well, if your flexibility is good enough that you can touch your hands to the floor, this also applies. So when bending forward, rather than just placing your hands on the prop or on the floor and then just relaxing, what I'd suggest is gently placing your hands on the prop so that you're still using, or still can use, your leg muscles to hold you up. So one reason that hamstring flexibility may be limited is that your brain isn't turning on the right hip muscles, or it's not using the hip muscles in a way that the body knows that it's safe to bend forward. So the idea of practicing moving smoothly, so when bending forward you can practice moving smoothly like so, placing your hands on the chair gradually, is to keep control, to mindfully use your legs, to use your hip muscles to tilt your pelvis forward. And then from there you can place your hands on the prop, and then if you want to rest your legs, then you can press your hands down so that your hands support the weight of your upper body and your leg can relax. Now what is the reason for using a prop rather than just supporting your body in any yoga pose, whether you're using a prop or not? One of the prime things you can work towards is creating openness. So in this position, I might be like this with my spine bent forward, and this is to imitate a person with lack of flexibility. And the idea of using a prop is that now I can use my hands to bring my chest up high enough that I can then proceed to open my chest. And when I open the chest, the thoracic spine, this part of the spine between my hands, bends backwards. So this opens the front of the chest, moves the chest away from the pelvis, away from the pubic bone. So I'm going to switch legs. So one of the ways that you can work towards not being so reliant on a prop, or so that you can work towards using a prop that isn't so high, is to practice using your legs to support your body. So right now my arms are supporting my upper body. Notice my fingers are a little bit stiff, so you could imagine that this is near the end of my range of flexibility. And notice I'm not just hanging down like this. I'm using my shoulders to press my hands down into the block, and the action of using my shoulders to press my hands down actually helps me to lift my rib cage, so now my legs can relax. And while my legs are relaxed, I can work on trying to make my hips level from left to right, but also square to the front. Or if desired, I could also turn slightly towards my front leg. Now from here, the idea, so that you can work towards developing hamstring flexibility, or first of all, better control of your hips, so that then you can work towards increased flexibility, increased forward bending. So from here, what I would suggest is activating your legs and then taking your hands off the block. Notice how smoothly I'm doing. I'm not just going like this. So a couple of steps so that you can work towards not having to use the blocks, or so that you can work towards gradually lowering your props while still being able to open your rib cage. So one of the sequences that I use is to first activate the feet. And by activating the feet, one simple action you can do is to lift the fronts of the feet and then actively press the fronts of both feet into the floor. That's too much focus just on the front foot. So you probably feel a little bit of tension here as you press the front foot down into the floor. If you're not sure what that means, try lifting the heel. Notice the action that lifting your heel causes, and then put the heel down, and then just press the front of the foot down with enough pressure that you feel the foot activating. You might find if you do it with the foot too far forward, your leg cramps up, as mine just has done. So try to gradually press down with the fronts of the feet. I suggest doing both feet. You could focus first on the front foot, just only on the front foot, pressing the front of the foot down and relaxing, front of the foot down, then relaxing. Then work towards being aware of both feet at the same time. So here again, I'm using blocks. This time I've placed the blocks so that they are under my shoulders, so that my arms hang straight down. And so in this position, so first action you can do so that you can take your hands off of the blocks is to press down through the fronts of the feet with the knees straight. If you can't get your knees straight, then go to a higher, such as a chair for example, go use a higher prop. So press the fronts of the feet down, and then from there, try and make your knee feel strong or your legs feel strong. You may find that just pressing the foot down makes your ankle feel strong. So from there, try and make your thigh feel strong as well. You can imagine pushing the knee away from your hip joint, so that creates some tension in the thigh bone. From there, you can gradually work at bending your thoracic spine backwards, so that moves your chest forward. And then from there, so that you can continue reaching your chest forward, slowly lift the hands off the block. And again, rather than just going like this, move slowly and smoothly so that you can feel the movement, but also so that you develop control of the movement. And if you can move smoothly and slowly, it is then easier, I found, to move smoothly while also moving quickly. So the sequence of steps: press your feet down, squeeze the thighs, try and push your knees away from your hip joints, so push your hip joints up away from the knees. And from there, open the chest. You could also focus on drawing your ears away from your shoulders to lengthen your neck. As you open your chest, lift your hands off of the block. And then when you relax, rather than just sinking down, slowly allow the thoracic spine to bend back, forwards, place the hands on the block, press your hands down into the block and relax the legs. And then repeat that a few times. Press the feet down, squeeze the legs, open the chest, lengthen the neck, and slowly relax. So I'm switching legs again. What you may find, as you may have noticed as I was doing that, is that when you relax your legs, you may find that your pelvis actually tilts forward a little bit more. And that's what you're trying to do in a forward bend when the focus is on stretching or trying to lengthen the hamstrings. Rather than bending the spine forward, now it's not a bad thing, it's just rather than bending the spine forward and just stretching the back of the body, you're trying to tilt the pelvis forward. That means lifting the sitting bones so that the sitting bones move away from the back of the knees, and that's when your hamstrings lengthen. You could also focus on pushing the pubic bone back between your legs. So both of these actions, the sitting bones lifting, the pubic bone pressing back, that's your pelvis tilting forward. And that action is when your hamstrings lengthen. So what you may find, so first you activate the feet, activate the legs, open the chest. So in this position, my butt is active and also the back of my thighs are active. And they're helping to support my body, and also my spinal erectors are active, bending my thoracic spine backwards, opening my chest, and then my neck, I'm just making that long, pulling my ears away from my shoulders. And then from there, I'm going to slowly relax, place my hands on the blocks, and press my hands down into the blocks so my legs relax. And what I sometimes find, and you may find this with enough practice, is that just when you relax, you can slowly bend your arms. You're still using your arms to support your body, but you may find that your hamstrings relax enough that you can tilt your pelvis forward a little bit more. So each time you repeat, strengthen the legs, open the chest, lengthen the neck. Each time you repeat the relaxation phase, you may find that you can go slightly deeper. So each time you relax your body, you may find that your hamstrings relax enough that you can tilt your pelvis further forwards. From there, if you find your pelvis is able to tilt further forwards, then gradually decrease the height of your blocks. So strengthen the legs, lengthen the spine, open the chest, relax, sink deeper. And if you like, go lower. Press the fronts of the feet down, legs strong, chest open, neck long. And then you may find you are actually able to touch the floor. When you're standing up, what I would suggest is still, whether you're using the blocks or not, use the strength of your legs. So rather than bending your legs, if you absolutely need to bend your legs, work towards pressing the feet down, open chest, lengthen neck, arms off the block. Try to stand up with your legs straight. Try to do so slowly so that you're using the strength of your legs to lift up, so that you're working on strengthening the legs. And again, that strength may help you give your brain and your body the confidence that it can go deeper in the actual forward bend. However, if you find your lower back is painful when doing that, then bend your knees if you need to. Another trick that might be helpful, if you have enough awareness, feel your lumbar spine. You may find that it helps to round it slightly or arch it. So play between those two movements. See if you can feel a position where your lower back feels more comfortable, i.e. there's no painful pulling on the lower back. That indicates that you're putting your body in an unsafe position. So utthitta trikonasana, or triangle, side triangle. This is another pose in which you might choose to use a prop. You can turn one leg in, turn one leg out 90 degrees. And I'd suggest, you could line up your heels, you could line up your front foot with the arch of the back foot. Personally, I don't really focus on that. Most important thing, turn your front foot out 90 degrees, turn your back foot in slightly. Just find a position that is comfortable for your hips. As you get more used to the pose, you can choose how to align your feet. But anyway, in triangle pose, the first step is to drop the hip on this is the front foot, the foot's turned out 90 degrees. So drop the hip on the front foot side. A lot of people say push the hips to the side. This results in the same action, but the focus is more on feeling the pelvis and deliberately moving it. You may find that you can get deeper in the pose if you focus on dropping the front leg hip and perhaps lifting the back leg hip so that the pelvis is angled towards the front foot. From there, you can place your hand on your shin. Personally, I don't have a problem with placing the hand on the shin, but you may prefer, or you may be instructed to place your hand on a block, or if you need a higher prop, then use a chair. So same thing again, place a foot inside the chair, have the hand on the chair, move the chair close enough so that you can have your hand on the chair beneath the shoulder. And rather than just sagging down, use this shoulder. Use this shoulder to press the hand down. Rather than having the fingers flaccid, make the fingers strong. So actively press your palm down into the floor, press your fingers down into the chair as well. And then use your shoulder to lift your rib cage up away from the chair. From this position, you could do the same thing if you're resting on your shin. In this case, your shin may have to push up against your thigh, against your hand a little bit, but use your shoulder, press your hand down against your shin to lift your rib cage. And from there, you can move your ribs away from your pelvis, create space between the ribs as well, lengthen the neck. Now from this position, I should point out, one of the tendencies in triangle is to collapse forward like this, or if the rib cage is back, to actually collapse the rib cage. Do try to position your rib cage directly over the front leg. Also try to open the rib cage, lengthen the neck. So from the front of the body, rather than being like this, move your rib cage back over the leg. So actually that's moving tilting the pelvis back so the rib cage is over the leg. And then from there, bend the thoracic spine backwards so that the chest is open. And then from there, an additional problem, not necessarily a problem, but alignment point, roll the top hip back as much as you can. And as you roll the top hip back, move the top side of the rib cage back with it also. So you could have your hand on the leg. Try to avoid the leg just collapsing like that. Have the leg strong enough that it presses up against your shin a little bit. Or if you're using a chair or other prop, press your hand down against the chair. If you're using blocks in triangle pose, the usual suggestion that I've seen is to have the blocks behind the leg, and you could place it like this so it's a little bit higher, like so. So that means the position of the block is inviting you to bring your rib cage back towards your leg. But you could always try it in front of the leg as well. In this case, you can bring your bottom ribs forward slightly so that your shoulder's directly over the hand. And then from here, you can roll the upper rib cage, upper hip back a little bit. So this creates a little bit of a twist towards the upward side. And then from there, you can lengthen the neck. So try both options, or use both options, change it from time to time so that you have a bigger or larger pool of experience for your body. So the pose itself, so that you can work towards sinking down, what I would suggest, as in triangle pose, first of all, press your feet down into the floor, press the fronts of your feet, particularly this foot. You could also experiment with the back foot as well. From there, roll the chest and the top side of the pelvis open, lengthen the neck. So rather than letting the head hang down, lengthen both sides of the neck, pull both ears away from your shoulders. And then from there, also push your hand, so push your hand down against the block. Now from here, to lift the hand off of the block, why would you lift the hand? So that you're using your legs to support the body. But to lift the hand off the block, make sure your legs are strong first. So press the fronts of the feet down, make sure both thighs are strong, and you may also want to feel your lumbar spine. Imagine the lumbar spine being pulled upwards slightly. Even though you're hanging down, pull upwards on the side of the lumbar spine. You may find that feels a little bit more comfortable. Then from there, you may find that you can lift the hand off of the floor. What you want to do then, the normal pose is keep the hand on the block. What I would suggest is reach both hands out to the side. If that's too much, reach them out like this. Keep the chest open, keep the neck long, and work at letting your rib cage sink down so that you open this. You'd probably find that there's a certain maximum amount you can tilt your pelvis to the side. So once you're there, any movement of your hand down towards your foot is going to come from the lumbar spine and even the thoracic spine as they bend towards your front leg. So this can actually be a nice stretch for your lumbar spine, but it's also, if your hands aren't supporting your body, it's lengthening them, but also training them to be able to activate in this lengthened position. So as for the triangle pose, triangle forward bend, what you could do, activate the legs, make your spine long, slowly take your hand off, and then relax. And you may find that on the relaxation stage you can go a little bit deeper, but still using your arm to support your body. So legs strong, lengthen the spine, lift your arm, and then go a little bit deeper. And so in that way you can gradually work towards sinking deeper in the pose, ideally reducing your need for a block, or at least reducing the height of the prop that you're using. When you are using blocks, if you're only using one block, instead of setting up 2 sets of blocks, you might be in a yoga studio where blocks are limited, or if you only have limited use of blocks, what you could do, you could use a block on one side, so lower down, so whether you're doing this or perhaps like this, then you can stand up, bring the block with you, swap hands, and then slowly place it down on the floor directly beneath your shoulders. A little bit more difficult with a chair, but another option. So if you're just using a chair, rather than moving the chair, so you might be doing this position here. So again, this arm is now flatted, legs are long, spine is long, neck is long. I'm pressing my hands slightly down against the chair, then slowly relaxing, pressing down, slowly relaxing, pressing down. And I'm going to come up and just change my feet. Turn to the side and slowly place my hand on the chair. Open the chest, lengthen the spine, reach the arm up, whichever variation I'm doing. And then to stand up, take the hand off of the prop and slowly stand up. Feel the muscles working that you're feel your muscles working. For a side angle pose, which is sort of like triangle except for the knee is bent, normally I suggest dropping the front leg hip and then bending the knee so the hips are already angled. If you look at Bikram type yoga, I think he normally suggests having the pelvis level so that then there's a bend in the spine in order to get the arm down. But anyway, I prefer to drop the front leg hip and then bend the knee. And then from here you don't really need a prop, you can just place your shin on your thigh like so. But if you want to use a prop, you can have it behind or in front of the foot. But in either case, if your hand's on your shin, on your thigh, use the shoulder. Rather than just hanging down here, use the shoulder to press your forearm against the thigh to lift the rib cage. And here again, move your ribs away from your pelvis. Make the back leg strong. Make the front leg strong as well, particularly if you want to reach the bottom arm off the leg. So drop the hip, drop the front leg hip, bend the knee, keeping the pelvis tilted to the side. So if you want to use a prop, again, experiment. In front of the foot, this means the bottom side of the rib cage can come forward slightly so your shoulder is over the hand. And then you can work on rolling the top side of the rib cage and the pelvis back. Or try and place it behind the foot so that then you're reaching slightly past the back of the thigh. And then here you can reach the arm up over. Now even here I'm sinking into my shoulder. Use the shoulder to press the rib cage up. At the same time or afterwards, move your ribs away from the pelvis, lengthen your arm, and also lengthen the straight leg. If you want to take your hand off of the floor or off of the prop, make this leg, the bent knee leg, strong. Then gradually take the hand off. If you like, what you could do is work at sinking the chest towards the thigh so that you can work towards moving the hand closer to the floor. So from here, hold for a bit, legs strong, then try going down a little bit lower, but try to keep the top side of your body open and smile. And then come up. One other pose that I'll go over is half moon pose. Here again, what I'd suggest is start with the block in your hand rather than having the block on the floor. So one leg lifted. What I would suggest, so your weight's on your standing foot, try and point the knee in the same direction as the toes. At the same time, press down through the base of the big toe. So not the actual big toe, but the inside edge of the front of the foot, so that your ankle and foot feel stable. And if that gives you problems, what I'd suggest is just holding this pose for a few breaths and then switch feet, hold this balance, and then work it gradually lifting the other leg higher. So from here, knee pointing the same direction as your toes, foot strong. You could try shifting your weight slightly forward so the front of your foot presses down with greater pressure. That you may find that makes it easier to balance. And from there you can slowly tilt forward. And as you tilt forward, what you could focus is on your pelvis. So rather than just lifting a leg, focus on lifting this hip higher and try and pull it over the bottom side of the hip. Whoops. And then place your foundation on the floor. And then from here, you can press the hand down a little bit or just keep it relaxed so that most of the work is being done by the leg. Whoops. And if you're holding onto the block, if you do lose balance, you can use the block like so to stay balanced. Now, again, working towards not having to use the block, what you could do is practice going up and down. So if you move slowly and smoothly, you can go down. Oh good, I can do it. And then come back up again. Other side, switch. Smoothly go down, focus on moving the pelvis. Again, shift your weight slightly towards the front of the foot so you have more control. And then come up. And then try it slightly lower. Or another option, what you could do, you could either try it like this, or if you have the block higher, just bend your elbow, but keep the hand relaxed so all of the work is being done by my leg. Then lift the block up, and then come up. So if you like, switch it so it's shorter. Tilt the pelvis to bring the hand closer to the floor. Touch the block down, and rather than relying on your hand, try to keep all of the effort in your foot and ankle. Use your hand to save you if you need to. You can tilt the pelvis more towards the side you're leaning towards so the leg goes higher and your torso comes closer to the leg. So you can go like that and then eventually get rid of the block completely and then stand up. Hi everybody, thanks for watching the latest video. Hope you found it helpful. And sorry for the sound quality on that video. I forgot to close the windows and turn off the refrigerator, and I only realized that as I was editing the video. But anyway, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. To my channel, I'll be doing more videos on body awareness, balance, and perhaps flexibility, anything that you're interested in and that I have any possibles that I can help with. Also, if you are please do check out my PDFs. I've done Balance Basics, which focuses on balance. Also Yoga Basics, which is sort of an introduction to basic yoga and body awareness while doing yoga. And coming soon, I'll be doing a part 2 of the hip control guide. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and see you next time.